of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which says all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Friends, it was in the mid-80s, I was in Dhaka and I was attending a meeting of civil society organizations organized by a very fine progressive man called Anis Bhai. He worked with the International Labour Organization, and I was there just listening to everybody, and suddenly he looks at me and says, Kamla, you've been working for many years now. What is the basis of your work? What inspires you? Out of the blue, he asks me. I was not a speaker, nothing. And without thinking very much, very spontaneously, I said, Anis Bhai, I think it is love which inspires me, which makes me do my work. And as I kept thinking about my answer, I was more and more convinced about what I had said. Once the word love had come out of my mouth, once it had been articulated, after that, I started looking around for people and for work which included love. It was around that time that I heard Che Guevara talk about his revolution. And he said the true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. Much later, I read Bell Hooks, the black feminist. She says, the practice of love is the most powerful antidote to the politics of domination. Meaning the antidote to domination is not our domination. It is love. And I said, oh, wow. So friends, since then, I have tried to incorporate love in our work. I'll share a little bit about that later, but did not talk much about love. But now I feel in the world we live today that it has become absolutely essential to talk about love. We are being engulfed by hatred, othering, and violence of all kinds, including violence against Mother Nature. Therefore, friends, I'm totally delighted that this is our second webinar on this four-letter word, love. For some strange reason, it has been a taboo subject. We have never talked about it. Even feminist activists, human rights activists, progressive activists do not talk of love as a value, as a strategy, as a way of being. And I wonder why. Is this because we are afraid to be called romantic, naive, sentimental? Or is it because we think love has no place in the serious business of social justice, equality, human rights? Is it less naive today in this rotten neoliberal world to think peace is possible? Is it less sentimental to think equality is still possible in the midst of the inequality which we have? Friends, I feel if we, the civil society, does not talk about love, who will do it? If we don't talk about it, how will we ever move our governments to think about love, to talk about love, to act inspired by love? So I think it is mandatory that all social justice work talk about love. Friends, Sangat and I talk about love not because we have any expertise or we have perfected the art of loving, We talk about love to break the silence on love, to break the binary between love and political work, and to come out of that closet and say, yes, we believe in love. And we believe in its place in our feminist human rights and justice work. We believe love is life affirming. We believe hate cannot remove hate from this world. Only love can. And we believe without the practice of love, our work, organizations and campaigns will have the same problems we are fighting. Problems of ego games, problems of inner fighting, of hierarchies, inequalities, power games. If we don't practice love, there will be what we say in Hindi, diye tale andhera, terrible darkness under the lamp of these feminist activists. Friends, let me say frankly and openly that nothing I will say will be original. And I believe it is not originality we need. We need to practice what has been said now for millennia. And what I will say, I have learned from all my gurus, starting with the Buddha, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, Guru Nanak, Jyotiba and Savitri Phule, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Eric Fromm, Bell Hooks, Thich Khan, and many, many more. So I speak with great authority. Forget me. Remember these fellows from whom I'm learning. Friends, I was thinking, is it not amazing that even in this world, where there is so much violence and inequality, our countries and the United Nations, actually they proclaim love. Maybe they don't believe in it. Why do I say this? I say this because I believe, for example, the Article 1 of the Human Rights Declaration says, all human beings are born free and equal. Can this be there without believing in love? Can the Constitution of India's preamble, which talks of equality for all, be based on anything but love? Similarly, our societies which look to be torn apart by violence actually have temples only of people who believed in love. Whether it is Buddha or whether it is Jesus or it is mosques thinking of the Prophet. I haven't seen any temples for dictators like Hitler or Mussolini. So I believe theoretically we human beings still believe in love. All we have to see is how to turn this theory into practice. Now about love of power. As Khushi said, I believe that all hierarchies, conflicts and violence in the world, all are because of love of power. We human beings think we are powerful, so we destroy nature. Men think they are superior, they want power, they destroy women. The exploiting castes, classes and race love their power. And they spoil the lives of everybody else. All the corporates believe in their power. So it is this love of power is ruling and destroying the world. And I believe, on the authority of all the people I have named, this can be countered only by the power of love. What do I mean? by love. Love has many meanings. Love is between many people, for many things. Love is of many kinds. No time to go into it, but in this webinar, we are talking about love in the context of social justice, equality, and rights. The love we are talking about here could be called universal love. Love for all sentient beings, not just human beings. This love does not distinguish between us and them. Somebody asked a guru, how should we treat others? And the guru said, there are no others. There are no others. We can also call it radical love. Radical meaning growing from the root. Fundamental meaning leading to big radical changes and transformations, not just tinkering with things. The other words which come to my mind when I talk of love is inclusion, harmony, coexistence, equality, democracy, and justice. All this is in my love. Actually, friends, love itself is a radical act. It is a powerful human emotion. Love extends us, enlarges us, deepens us, opens us up. It breaks the boundaries societies and families and we create for ourselves. Radical love, friends, is unconditional, not based on conditionalities, business deals. You did do this for me, I love you. You don't do this for me, I don't love you. It's unconditional. I believe the Indian notion of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the entire earth is a family, is based on radical love. The African Ubuntu, I am because you are, is based on the idea of love. When Guru Nanak says, I see no enemy, I see no other, he's talking about this love. I could go on quoting Kabir, Baba Bulle Shah, Maulana Rumi, Maulana Hafiz, but no time. Radical love is that love of God for which poet Nida Fazli says, घर से मस्जिद है बहुत दूर, चलो यूं कर लें, किसी रोते हुए बच्चे को हंसाया जाए. The masjid is far from the house. Let's just do one thing. Make a crying child laugh. If that is our love of God, then we are talking of radical love. So friends, radical love is what that little bird was caught in a big forest which was burning. And all the big animals had run away to save themselves. And this tiny little bird was seen going to the river, filling up her beak and coming and putting that water to douse the fire. Without asking, is it effective? Will it do anything? She was doing what she could do. And I think that is radical love. Friends, like all my gurus, I believe without love, life is not possible. Would any woman give birth, breastfeed for months, look after children for decades without love in her heart? So now you know the context of when we say radical love. I believe the first step towards radical love is loving oneself. If I do not love, honor, respect, affirm myself, I cannot love anyone else. So I and the others are the same. I do to myself what I do to others. I do to others what I do to myself. Radical love thus is non-dualistic, no binary. It is based on the notion, as I said, of interdependence, interconnectedness, and coexistence. So totally ecological and totally necessary to save us in today's this climate change kind of problem. Radical love is secular. It may be inspired by a particular faith, like Parvathy is inspired by the Bauls, but she's not limited to the Bauls. So it is secular. It is spiritual. What do I mean by spirituality? I mean two things. Connecting the inside with the outside. Connecting the little me with the universal energy. That's what spirituality is for me. Or I can say going beyond the totally materialist understanding of things. So for me, radical love is secular and spiritual. Friends, I believe most people today are pining for love, aching for love. Most people today do not have the kind of love they want. I believe there is so much violence because people are without love. It is loveless people who do violence. Unhappy people do violence. In Sangat, we have this slogan, men of quality are not afraid of equality. By this we mean any man who feels happy inside, who is not ridden with inferiority complexes, he doesn't do violence. It is the ghatiya men without quality, who do violence. So I think the violators themselves are in need of love. If you want examples of these loveless people who are doing violence, just close your eyes and think of all the dictators, all the fascists, be they heading governments or khap panchayats or mafia gangs, corporate houses, Hollywood, Bollywood producers, etc., etc. You can also think of NGO leaders, dictators, some feminist leaders. So anyone who does not handle her or his inside can be looking for this love of power. All those people who are playing power games, who can't go beyond their own ego. Now I come to some other points about radical love which are very important for me. Radical love recognizes violence outside, patriarchal, class, race, heteronormative violence, all kinds of violence outside. And it recognizes violence inside me. What games am I playing with my daughter-in-law, with my bhabhi, even with my child? I believe, friends, that this disconnect between the inside and outside plagues most progressive activists. We are busy trying to change social, economic, political structures outside. without ever looking inside ourselves, our families and organizations. On the other hand, there are spiritual people who are busy changing the inside without changing inequality, injustice outside. These social transformers and spiritual transformers are going on parallel lines. And I think it is high time that the Khushi Kabirs and the Kamlas and the Parvathy Bauls of the world meet up, merge into each other, learn from each other, and move ahead. So this binary has to go. I believe practice of love demands that love and all the values related to love be present inside us and outside in all the institutions, beginning with civil society organizations, trade unions, left political parties, and only when we can say, see, we practice it, can we go to the others whom we consider the opposition. Friends, radical love is intersectional. It recognizes the interconnectedness of all systems of exploitation, oppression, and injustice. I believe learning to love is actually quite natural. Whereas I believe hate, you have to teach children how to hate. I think you don't have to teach them how to love. Children born in natural, equal, just families, I think automatically love, automatically take care of other people. But tell me, where are such families I'm talking about? Have you seen any? In the present patriarchy, class, caste, race, heteronormativity-ridden world, there are no natural families, I'm afraid. Our families teach us very little universal love. They teach us love for a few people. This is your family. This is your caste. This is your mamu. This is your religion. Love only these 10 people. And don't love homosexuals. And don't love them. And don't love them. Our families which should teach us love are the biggest sites and schools of othering, inequality, injustice, and violence. They teach us conditional love. If you marry the woman I want you to marry, you can have my property, the father says. Husband says, if you don't go out and work, then I will give you this. Bloody business deals going on. So since all of us are brought up in families, with such families, we can forget about love in any other institution. So friends, if we have to change the world, it must begin with us and with our families. And that's what we feminists have been saying now for decades. The personal is the political. We've been bloody singing it. कि तू खुद को बदल, तू खुद को बदल, तभी तो ज़माना बदलेगा. You change yourself. Only then will the world change. So families can't teach us love. What about schools? Schools today are factories of killing love, of teaching competition in class 1. Who is first, who is second, who is third? What about our jobs, livelihoods? Our livelihoods today, friends, are deadlihoods. They may take care of our stomach, but most of them destroy our souls. Practice cutthroat competition for profit. So So with all this mass production of inequality, injustice, competition, from where will radical love come? Well, the only hope I have is from progressive activists, progressive organizations, from feminists. Okay, next point is radical love is a journey. Nobody is a perfect lover already. We love and improve as we practice. And now listen to the next sentence I'm going to say. Because love is a journey, every sinner has a future, can improve. And every saint has or may have a past. So nobody is a permanent lover. And as I said, radical love is a spiritual journey. And friends, like any other art of loving requires practice, concentration, dedication, and lifelong commitment. If you want to learn more, read Erich Fromm. Love is communion with the world. All right, now, some people think that love is weakness. They feel radical changes require machismo, masculinity, militarization, violent resistance. Yeah, all these methods can sometimes perhaps work. Sometimes they can work fast, but do they last? Are they sustainable? Do they transform the human beings who bring that change? And all historical evidence tells you they do not. After revolutions came people who loved their power, and they messed up the world like never before. This is why Gandhi, King, Mandela emphasize securing moral ends through moral means. So the path of radical love, friends, is the moral means to a moral end. And let me say before you ask, radical love does not mean becoming a doormat for the oppressors. Come walk over me. It does not mean unconditional consent, solidarity without criticism. It is not a free pass. It is not staying silent when what you need to do is to talk. It is not accepting everything when you require to challenge. Therefore, radical love and non-violence, active non-violence, are connected. Radical love and restorative justice are connected. So friends, people who have spent years in jail, who should be filled with hatred and anger and violence, like Gandhi, like Mandela, still speak of love. They should know, no? Now we should learn, no? Gandhi said, where there is love, there is life. And friends, I believe there's no choice, there's no choosing between violence and non-violence. The only choice is between non-violence and non-existence. I see that I have about 5 or 7 minutes more, and I will take them. What is the relationship of women, feminists, to love? I'm sure all of you who are listening to me know that there is no special body part or a gland which produces mamta or love in women. I suppose creating children, breastfeeding them, and looking after totally helpless beings for years is what makes us caring and loving. Practicing love and care makes for people who love. So if we want our boys and men to learn to love, I think we should involve them, include them in care work, in service work, in looking after children and older people. Friends, neckties and suits and Nehru jackets and starched beautiful kurta pajamas do not make gentlemen. Caring and nurturing does. So women are better at love only because of thousands of years or millions of years of historical practice. And friends, more than men, we women also know what is hatred, what is violence. We go through it all the time. Recently, UNFPA came out with a report and said 120 million women and girls are missing in the world. Sorry, 140 million. And two neighboring countries, China and India, are responsible for killing 120 million. Corona has killed 500,000. And look at the lockdowns. I am waiting for a lockdown for patriarchy, for class, for caste. But no, they need patriarchy, caste and class to make their billions. So friends, I believe feminists and feminist movements should be all about love. Our organizations should practice love along with professionalism. We should practice love in all our relationships. Our families should be experiments in love. Feminist groups and organizations should be places where love is practiced and sown in the hearts of everyone who comes in connection with us. So for me, earlier I said, if I can't dance, this movement is not for me. Now I say, no love, no feminism. No love, no social justice and human rights movement. Friends, in Sangat, in all our courses, we try to practice love, weave love. Participants come from different countries, different religions, speaking different languages, different castes. And throughout that month, the message is, we were all born humans before societies put us into tight boxes. So let us humanize ourselves in this 1 month. The venues of our courses are ecological. We sit on the floor, not with chairs and tables made with murdered trees. We welcome everyone in the first session with nice tight Punjabi hugs. We have sessions on Sufi poetry in our courses. We show films about love and friendships. Our large campaign, 1 Billion Rising, ends on 14th February, St. Valentine's Day. And we say it openly that violence can only be dealt with, challenged with love. So friends, we are trying, we are experimenting. Similarly, I am so happy that so many more people are experimenting. You know, in the last 25, 30 years, progressive civil society organizations have learned from Sufi poetry, Baul and Kabir poetry, to challenge the violence being spread by all kinds of religious fundamentalism. In India, we have an organization called Khudai Khidmatgar, inspired by Frontier Gandhi, spreading love. Harsh Mandar, an activist, calls his organization Karwan-e-Mohabbat. Sonam Kalra has a project called Sufi Gospel Project about love. Shabnam Virmani has the Kabir Project about love. And you will now listen to Parvathy Baul and all her life's work about love and harmony. Swati Chakravarti Bhattal has made one of the finest films recently called Rubaru Roshni, talking about forgiveness. I wish I had time to talk about it. Valerie Kaur, a young lawyer, human rights activist in USA, has started Revolutionary Love Project. So friends, there are many people who are doing it. I had some quotes for you from Baba Sahab Ambedkar, Martin Luther King and Gandhiji, but I'll let it be. I will say Mohabbat Zindabad, and let's all practice and spread Mohabbat. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I want to ask a question to Parvathy.
Okay.
Parvathy,
Yeah.
you ready?
Yes.
You know, you were a teenager. I don't think you were even 18 when you went on this path. What was it? I mean, were you looking only for freedom? You've told me the story how you ran away every day following a woman Baul singer, and you went with her on buses begging for money, leaving your Shanti Niketan and all that. Were you looking just for freedom? Was it the singing? Was it the music? Was it the love? And my God, a Bengali woman, lower middle class family, taking off, crazy. What was it? I mean, do you know it now? Maybe at that time you did not know. Do you know it now? Were you looking for freedom as a woman that would set you free? Otherwise, you would have been now mother of 4 or 5 with a husband beating you every day. And look at you now sitting here like a grand lady of music. What was it?
Well, so this, yeah, at the beginning, I didn't really have any idea of all this that I can articulate now. What I was trained in music and dance since my childhood. But when I heard the bowls, I saw there is a special opening of the voice. And this voice was like, it was touching the sky. So I never heard a voice like that. It came directly from the body. And when I met them as person in normal daily life, they were carrying the same essence of the love and compassion. That's what I missed in most of the artistic circle. So I said how they became this human being in them, that they had received me with so much love, and everybody else who came to them. And I wanted that to cultivate in me, that essence I wanted to cultivate in me. I wanted my art to become my upasana, and to make me transformed and make me one with the beloved. And so actually, if you seek love outside, you will never find it. Nobody can satisfy. The love has to come from inside. And even though I was very young, like 16, but I have seen many aspects of life. And for me, even for me to understand, when I started growing up, I was said as a woman, and I didn't really feel, I felt like a human being. I felt like same as everybody. So why I was treated in that way, I didn't never understood. But when I looked at the Baul, I found that essence of oneness in them. And so I started taking that. It actually cooled my sufferings, unhappiness, not feeling love, not feeling this and that comes from our suffering. And when the suffering stops, then we will be happy always. And there will be no reason that whether I'm happy or, your happiness is your happiness. Nobody has owned it. You own your happiness. So even in the most challenging moments of a life, we can feel love and we can feel loved and we can have our happiness. Don't give the key of your love and happiness in anyone's hand.
No,
I had seen a comment. I just would like to take it. I know I'm shooting my time, but I just found a comment from someone that difficult to comprehend my explanation because it's semi-Vaishnavi explanation. So, so maybe I just one sentence
okay.
is that again we are putting on the blindfold.
Yeah.
Again we are not seeing the essence what we are talking about here.
No, I mean, Parvathy, I'm amazed at your answer. I mean, you said that you did not find that acceptance and love from the artist community. And we thought artists were those people who had love, but look at the competition among artists. Look at that desire for name and fame and this and that. Similarly, some young feminists could say, I did not get that acceptance from older feminists. I got it from a fakir on the road. I mean, that is a comment on us. And that is what I was trying to say in the first 40 minutes, that we need to look that all these big words about human rights defenders, feminist activists, does anyone feel your love? Will anyone follow you for your love? Or maybe for the job you might give them, or maybe for a recommendation for a fellowship you might give them. But how many people will follow you for your love? And that is the challenge I am posing today.